why we're talking jobs this morning after Tom's smartphone chat. Tech jobs. According to The Verge, Snap is said to be considering layoffs, and we have seen hiring freezes at other majors such as Facebook and Google. But there are also reports that Snap's looking at opening an office in Qatar, which got us thinking, do hiring decisions made by multinationals in other countries automatically translate to here? What are we seeing in the local market? Joined by Trefor Murphy, founder and CEO of the recruitment company Fitch. Lovely to see you, Trefor.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Brandy.
So, hiring freezes, layoffs hitting the tech sector, more companies than I have mentioned there in the opening. What is the bigger story about what we're seeing?
I think globally, we are certainly seeing a lot of companies looking at their recruitment numbers, the number of people they have working for them, etc. So I think it's probably, and there's definitely a phenomenon there that's been driven from the US, probably a fear of recession, for sure. The other part of the story for me is that they have had significant growth in COVID numbers in terms of employees. So if you look at Snap, since COVID, employee numbers have increased by nearly 80%. That is staggering, and at one point, for every chart that goes up, it has to level off or even off. And tech companies have been notoriously and historically quite famous for, if they've got a concept or product that seems to work, that they hire ahead of business expectations. So they go ahead, they hire big numbers, and you normally see a lot of ups and downs in tech recruitment. Startups are very exciting and they're phenomenally rewarding sometimes. There's also a high factor of failure in those startups as well.
Our question this morning,
yeah.
Do the hiring freezes and the like that we see at multinational tech companies, these, big names, the FANGs and the rest of it, do they automatically translate into what's happening to hiring here? What happens?
Not sometimes, but not all the time, for sure, right? So, like the example of Snap, they're certainly going to lay off some people globally, and then they're setting up an office in the region. Metaverse are certainly laying off some people globally, and they're having further investment, as just mentioned by Tom, in terms of within the region. So a lot of, I think the first thing that we do is that we group tech companies together a lot. So we think that there's a tech sector. You get some organizations that in America, they build data centers, they build certain new products. And then in a different region, they reduce their footprint, or in America, they reduce their footprint and increase within different regions, support local markets. So it's not connected. There's some correlation, but it's not always connected.
What about the hiring freezes that we see again from some of the biggest tech companies in the business? Do you see things just go quieter here, or jobs even being taken off the market?
So take, for example, Google, one of the largest technology companies. In the last 2 years, they've increased their employee numbers by 35%. And now they're talking about a couple of months ago, they announced that there might be some significant reductions in headcount. And now they're saying they're going to stop hiring for 2 weeks. So I'm not saying that there's no foundation for the stories that are coming out. There's a lot of things happening that are concerning within the tech space. But there is a significant amount of companies in the region and globally there's more companies actively and aggressively hiring than they are reducing their footprint.
Okay, so that is my question.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in tech hiring at the moment?
Analytics, cloud, security or cyber, significant hiring in the region. We have so many organizations that are looking to bring talent in, inflationary pressure, but also just increase in volume of startups, particularly in the UE, is driving tech recruitment for sure.
Can you find the skills that you need here?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, yes. We're bringing a lot of people in as well. But yeah, look, there's a huge wealth of talent in the UE, and there are some sectors as things grow or change that we need to bring skills in, but there's a lot of very, very strong talent in the region, coupled with topping that up with additional support from the international markets.
Are you seeing more CVs from other regions if we are looking at hiring freezes in the sector and more people looking at coming here?
Yeah, for sure. That's the only thing I can absolutely say for sure. I would say we're probably seeing an increase. We've seen an increase since we came out of COVID, probably quicker than any other region. Probably 20-30% increase in the number of applicants looking to come here. You super attractive place to live and, relatively tax-free. And it's also, there's a significant opportunity to develop your career here as well. People that want to work hard, succeed and progress are really looking at the UAE as an option, and the region, the wider region, Saudi Arabia as well.
Really interesting what you say there about the 20 to 30% increase in CVs as we come out of COVID. Where are you seeing those CVs come from? What's your general sense?
And from a geographic or I guess so. So historically, close markets like the Indian, Pakistani markets, a big driver. UK, Ireland, a lot of European countries as well who are really struggling with, inflation and super high taxes and there's a squeeze in the middle in terms of actual income. So, the Asian markets as well. We're seeing a lot of interest in Dubai from the Asian markets for sure.
Do you see any trend or any change in terms of the age groups of the people who are now sending you these CVs or what sectors they're in? Again, I know you haven't prepared the figures for these, but what are you discussing in the office? What's the sense?
So the typical age profile of people coming here are young single people who want to come to Dubai and live a certain maybe social media lifestyle, but a lifestyle nonetheless. And then we're seeing people that are probably on the slightly older side, kids growing up, coming here, pack up or stack up their pension fund, typically. It's still, and probably they're still probably the two predominant age profiles. And what we're probably seeing as well is that we still struggle to get the senior manager level person. So mid-30s, late 30s, still plenty of drive and energy, typically young families. Schooling is expensive. It's a more expensive place to be as a when you have a family unit to support. So that's the area that we struggle a little bit with still, and it's probably the most sought after age profile. That
struggle is interesting because, funny enough, we've had the same discussion when it comes to rents, and we will discuss that with you next time we've got you in. But I have a producer in my ear telling me that, unfortunately, Trevor, our time is up. Thank you very much for your time and your insights this morning. Trevor Murphy is founder and CEO of the Recruitment Curve.